What's up, guys? Mike Pendleton here. Another edition of On the Mic Sports Talk coming at you live here on Tuesday. It is the opening tip-off night in the NBA. Game 5 of the ALDS between the Yankees and Guardians as well. For this episode, however, just going to focus on the NBA. Not going to take up too much time today, but I do want to kind of recap. We will go over, particularly, I think week to week, I will do Tuesdays and Thursdays for this. Thursday being more NFL focused, Tuesday being more NBA focused, and anything major that may come up, I will hit my thoughts on those topics as well. But for today, just want to kind of recap on the NFL. I tweeted it out here. By the way, if you are not following me on Twitter, go ahead and follow me at MP2310. But I tweeted it out here. Went 5-9 against the spread in week 6. That's pretty terrible. That's pretty terrible. You can go back and listen to the last episode. If you do that, please subscribe if you are not already. 5-9 against the spread in the NFL, not great, but we move on. I started this late, relatively late in the NFL season, but NBA season is here. You're probably going to get a lot of fired up rants this year. Most people know my 3 teams: the Yankees, the Knicks, the Bears. Don't ask. That's just how it is. Last year, very down year for the New York Knicks. Obviously, try to change that culture around. They thought, were they getting Donovan Mitchell? Were they in play for somebody else? Answer was no, no, and no. They went and got Jalen Brunson, re-signed RJ Barrett, and they have a nucleus there of Brunson, Barrett, Randall, Mitchell Robinson. Evan Fournier will be the starting 2 guard. You got Emmanuel Quickly coming off the bench, Obi Toppin coming off the bench. So I'm not here to say the Knicks are going to finish in the top 8 of the conference standings. I do like their chances, though. I do like their chances. With that being said, however, what I'm going to do today, I'm going to go in and give you guys kind of who I believe to be the 8 teams of each conference, and then the 2 play-in teams in each conference. I'll give you my award picks, and I will also just give you some basketball thoughts, kind of things you guys can hold me accountable to this year. And I'll start with this. The Detroit Pistons will be a lot of fun to watch this year. I don't care how many games they win. I would have to bring up the lines on their win projections, but that Detroit Pistons team led by Cade Cunningham and first-round pick this year, Jaden Ivey, as well as Sadiq Bey. You got Beef Stew, Isaiah Stewart. I mean, this team, they're young, but they're going to be fun. Jaden Ivey is a spark plug among spark plugs. That dude is electric. Cade Cunningham coming into another year on this team. I mean, there's so many things to like about, if you just like there's, NBA Twitter, and I'm not usually a part of those things, but NBA Twitter is very fun and also very hard to miss. However, they say, oh, they're a League Pass team. Yeah, if you have NBA League Pass, like I will have, the Detroit Pistons are going to be a team to watch. They may even be a team to bet on this year, right? Like I'm talking night to night, who might be out a starter, who might be one of those middle of the road teams. Like, Detroit Pistons are going to be a lot of fun. So that's one thing I want you guys to hold me accountable to. 2, Charlotte, what the hell is going on in Charlotte? I mean, LaMelo Ball out to begin the season, sprained ankle. James Bouknight arrested yet again. We already had the disturbing information on Miles Bridges this offseason. Montrezl Harrell left that team. This is a year that I believe we'll see a lot of young players, whether they be rookies, second year or third year guys, and hint, you will see and hear some of these names from me throughout social media and on this show and shows to come. But I do believe rookies through 3-year guys may do a lot this year. But for me, I look at the Charlotte Hornets, like, you got to figure out what you have. You know, you have LaMelo Ball. Kelly Oubre's a nice piece. Miles Bridges was a nice piece until you figure out he wasn't a great person. But they went and drafted Mark Williams with their lottery pick this year. And that's a big, burly center out there. And I don't know that the Charlotte Hornets are going to be a playoff team, but I do like Mark Williams, and I would like this to be a year in which the Charlotte Hornets try to figure out what they have. Kind of just going through the Eastern Conference here. The biggest news, I think, in the Eastern Conference is you have the Boston Celtics, the defending Eastern Conference champions. No Ime Udoka, suspended for the year due to misconduct with a female staffer. But that team got better. Marcus Smart, healthy. Jaylen Brown, Jason, everybody's healthy except Robert Williams, right? But they brought in Blake Griffin, good veteran backup to have. They still have Grant Williams. They still have Al Horford. And then they went and got Malcolm Brogdon. I mean, that guy is so criminally underrated, in my opinion. And now you have a lineup that can rotate Smart and Brogdon as the primary point guards on this team. And that was something they really, I think, lacked. And they still have Derek White. I mean, this team's going to be a lot of fun. Spoiler alert, I'm picking them to beat the Sixers tonight in the opening night of the NBA playoffs. With that said, moving on, the Atlanta Hawks go in and acquire DeJounte Murray this year alongside of Trae Young. They added some pieces, obviously. I like the Atlanta Hawks to come and make the playoffs in the East. The Chicago Bulls, big question mark here. No Lonzo Ball for who knows how long, likely the first half of the season, if not longer. So Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, but now Ayo Dosunmu will start at point guard for the Chicago Bulls team. A healthy Patrick Williams so far. A healthy Alex Caruso so far. Andre Drummond looks like good center insurance. But this team is going to be a team that's top loaded and really relying on their starters with Lonzo Ball out. Ayo Dosunmu, I mean, he's not going to be your focal point, but he's going to have to run this offense under Billy Donovan. But that's what the Bulls have going for them, in my opinion. They have Billy Donovan as their head coach. I don't want to give out my 8 Eastern Conference teams right now. I do think it will be tough for Billy Donovan and the Chicago Bulls. But if there's one coach that can get the Bulls through this, because he did it last year, it'll be Billy Donovan, led by DeMar DeRozan and Vucevic and Zach LaVine. Cleveland Cavaliers. Very interesting. As I was about to fire up this podcast, I thought about somebody on this team, and it wasn't Donovan Mitchell, and it wasn't Darius Garland. It is Evan Mobley. I mean, playing alongside Jared Allen, you lose a little bit of rebound potential there in Evan Mobley. But Evan Mobley, we're seeing it, right? I know Chet Holmgren's out for the year, but we see a lot of talk about, man, Chet Holmgren's a unicorn and this and that. Evan Mobley may not do everything Chet can do, but with a team loaded, he will not be, in my opinion, at the front of the focus for defenses, because you have Donovan Mitchell, because you have Karis LeVert, because you have Darius Garland, and Jared Allen is just a bully down low. I really like Evan Mobley this year. So those are my thoughts on the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Miami Heat, I mean, just a couple of shots away from going to the Eastern Conference Finals. But that was to beat the Boston Celtics to go to the NBA Finals. Miami's got to when you have Jimmy Butler, it's hard to count you out, right? So they pay Tyler Herro a bunch of money. Will Kyle Lowry, I think he's their biggest question mark. Will Kyle Lowry be healthy this year? If Kyle Lowry is healthy this year, I mean, if they can use, you have Bam Adebayo, you've got Jimmy Butler. I really like the roster that this team has. But for me, it's going to go as far as Kyle Lowry can get them, because really they kind of hurt up front. Their projected depth chart: Kyle Lowry, Tyler Herro, Caleb Martin, Jimmy Butler at the 4, Bam Adebayo. I mean, I get it, but I don't know if I like Jimmy at the 4. Maybe Duncan Robinson can do something. Maybe they start Victor Oladipo at the 2 guard. I don't know. This team, the Miami Heat team, is a team I like because it's hard to go against Jimmy Butler and it's hard to go against Bam Adebayo, but it seems they're very much lacking some front court depth, and that could hurt them, especially as the season goes on. So maybe they are a team to watch out for. That makes a big move. Obviously, they lost PJ Tucker. He's in Philly now. Philly, great team this year. I think they'll have one of the best players, if not the best player in the NBA this year. The Milwaukee Bucks, Drew Holiday, Giannis, Brook Lopez healthy again. Chris Middleton will be out the first couple of weeks. Pat Connaughton will be out the first couple of weeks. So Grayson Allen will get more run. Wesley Matthews likely get more run. And then you wonder if you're the Bucks, do you slide Giannis down to the small forward position and then play a lineup of Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, Giannis, Grayson, and Drew Holiday? That'll be interesting. I do think it does not matter. Milwaukee will still be one of the best teams in the East, if not the entire NBA. They have Giannis. The Brooklyn Nets. I am so excited for Ben Simmons. Guys, I'm going to say it one more time. I am so excited for Ben Simmons. He can play 1 through 5 on this team. They will be without Joe Harris and Seth Curry to begin this season. I believe TJ Warren would also be out. Cam Thomas, going to be a fun player to watch this year. If Joe Harris does not get off to a good start, if Seth Curry does, Cam Thomas is a bucket. So you got Kyrie, you got KD, and now Ben Simmons. You talk about a revenge tour. I cannot wait for Brooklyn at Philly. I cannot wait for Ben Simmons to just be on the floor. Here is a guy who openly discussed what it was like, I believe on the Bleacher Report, on the JJ Redick podcast, excuse me. He openly discussed what it was like going through everything he went through, getting out of Philly, that playoff game in which he passed up the wide open dunk. I don't think anyone should be doubting Ben Simmons. If he is healthy, he is still one of the best players in the NBA. And by the way, when you have one of the greatest all-time players of all time in Kevin Durant, one of the best point guards we've seen in a very long time in Kyrie Irving, no matter how you feel about him socially, Ben Simmons can only produce with those guys. He can only benefit from having those guys there. He's going to be able to guard the best player, keep KD and Kyrie fresh. He's going to be able to crash the boards. Nick Claxton, Day'Ron Sharpe, those guys will kind of battle it out for the center position. But I think as good as Kyrie and Kevin Durant are, I think the Brooklyn Nets will go as far as Ben Simmons can resurge in his career. That team's going to be a hell of a lot of fun to watch. Talk about League Pass teams. They're going to be on national TV a lot. But if you just want to see Ben Simmons day in and day out, he's worth the price of League Pass this year. The New York Knicks, already discussed them. Then we got the Orlando Magic. The Orlando Magic, Paolo Banchero, the number 1 pick this year. They have Jalen Suggs, who avoided major injury. They have Cole Anthony, who had a really big breakout year last year. Also, Franz Wagner, one of my favorite names to say in the NBA. This team is young. This team might be fun, but it's all eyes on Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, Jalen Suggs. Is that their core? Does Cole Anthony really assert himself yet again this year? And Wendell Carter. You would like to believe there's a better center out there for him. They did re-sign Mo Bamba this year. So I'm interested to see how Orlando starts to shape and who becomes the face of that franchise. You likely want to say it's Paolo Banchero. The Philadelphia 76ers, guys, I mean, Tyrese Maxey, James Harden, Tobias Harris, PJ Tucker, Joel Embiid. On paper, it is, in my opinion, the second best roster in the Eastern Conference on opening night. The number 1 roster would be the Boston Celtics. I understand no Robert Williams, but they have the veteran depth and they are a deep team. The Sixers, they have a team that works for them, but they're led by, spoiler, my pick for the MVP this year, Joel Embiid. Let's see what a full offseason with Embiid, Harden, Maxey, and Doc Rivers can do. Tobias Harris, he's not out of their core, but I do believe Philly is kind of ran through Maxey, Harden, and Joel Embiid. Washington, we've got Bradley Beal back and healthy. Lottery pick Johnny Davis in the mix this year. Kyle Kuzma, Kristaps Porzingis. I don't know what to make of this team. Their projected starting lineup: Monte Morris, Bradley Beal, Will Barton, Kyle Kuzma, Kristaps Porzingis. I don't love it. They may be a play-in team, but it's all about Bradley Beal and Kristaps Porzingis. And really, I know he just signed that huge deal in the offseason, but Bradley Beal, this is the time now. Now Washington is kind of like Orlando. You got to figure out who's staying and who's really a part of your future. So Washington, don't see much happening this year. Toronto Raptors, what a fun team. Fred VanVleet, Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam. I mean, this team, Gary Trent Jr., this team, interesting rookie, because the Raptors are kind of known for finding these guys you truly never really heard of. But Christian Koloko, I may be butchering that, excuse me. But Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby. I mean, I expect the Toronto Raptors to be a middle of the East team. And I already mentioned the Charlotte Hornets. So here are my picks in no order. I've got the Atlanta Hawks, Boston Celtics, Cleveland Cavaliers, Milwaukee Bucks, Brooklyn Nets, Philadelphia 76ers, Toronto as my first 7. The Chicago Bulls will be there. I'm going to take the Knicks as a play-in team. It's kind of hard. I want to make sure I did that right. Atlanta, Boston, Chicago, Cleveland, Miami, Milwaukee, Brooklyn, Philly. Ooh, that's where I messed up. Okay, well, never froze up on that's tough. So Atlanta, Boston, Chicago, Cleveland, Milwaukee, Brooklyn, Philly, Toronto. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Miami's a play-in team and the Knicks are a play-in team. There we go. The Western Conference, New Orleans Pelicans, they're going to be that team. They will be what the Memphis Grizzlies were last year, in my opinion. The team that everyone hates to play. They're going to be scrappy. They're going to be gritty. The return of Zion Williamson. If you are not ready for Zion Williamson, if you're not excited by Zion Williamson, I don't know what to tell you. And just to kind of go back on what I was saying just a few moments ago, I don't necessarily want to say that Miami's a playoff team, or excuse me, a play-in team. I misspoke. Those will be my 10 playoff teams. So I'll do it this way. Here are the 5 teams. I believe it's 15 teams. Here are my 5 teams that will not make it into the playoffs this year in the Eastern Conference. Indiana Pacers, the Charlotte Hornets, the Washington Wizards, the Orlando Magic, and the Detroit Pistons. But if there's a big injury, I expect the Pistons to be the 11th team. They could sneak into the play-in. I'm very excited about that team. Jalen Duren, rookie center, Saddiq Bey, Isaiah Stewart, Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey. That should be their starting lineup. It will not be because they got Bogdan Bogdanovic on that team as well. So I don't know. The Detroit Pistons will be the team to watch in the East for me. That is on the outside looking in. I'll do that as well. I'll give you my thoughts on each team in the West, and then I'll give some award picks, and we'll wrap this up. But again, back to the New Orleans Pelicans. CJ McCollum now in New Orleans, full offseason. Zion Williamson healthy. This team, I mean, this team's going to be that team you hate to play night in and night out. Jonas Valanciunas, he's a bruiser down there in the post. Brandon Ingram, Herbert Jones. This team's going to get after you defensively, and it is going to be so much fun to watch. I really like the New Orleans Pelicans this year. I will go as far to say as I like the Pelicans to possibly finish as a top 4 seed in a very deep Western Conference. The Dallas Mavericks, led by Luka Doncic. Luka and nobody else. This will really be a season to remember if Luka can carry the Dallas Mavericks to the playoffs. They did make the big acquisition to get Christian Wood. We'll see how he fits there. But this is not a deep, big team around Luka Doncic. I could see them taking a step back. I could be very wrong. But when it comes to the Dallas Mavericks, it's Luka or it's nothing. The Denver Nuggets may be healthy this year. That means Jamal Murray, Contavious Caldwell-Pope, Michael Porter, Aaron Gordon, and two-time MVP Nikola Jokic, who should have lost it to Joel Embiid last year. However, this team, as I see Dallas make a kind of a decline this year, I see Denver on an uphill climb. They've got one of the best coaches in Mike Malone. I really like what Denver has as a core. Bones Highland, one of the best young players in basketball. I absolutely love watching. He is a menace out on that court. I like Denver this year to be kind of a middle of the pack team as well. Golden State Warriors, the reigning champs. Interesting storyline. Everyone's talking about the Lakers and Russell Westbrook, and we'll get to them, but Draymond Green is staying for now. No suspension. He knocked out or sucker punched Jordan Poole. Klay Thompson's healthy. Everyone's healthy. Kevon Looney. Now, here's the big thing. Does James Wiseman showcase himself this year? There's Kevon Looney is likely your starting center, but you've got a team that could seriously run out maybe, and it wouldn't be a great, but another young second unit that could possibly beat some starting units out there. Jordan Poole, Dante DiVincenzo, Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, James Wiseman. I mean, this team's not bad as a second unit. And then they're the reigning champions for a reason. Led by Steve Kerr, their head coach, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Wiggins, Draymond Green. But now what does Draymond want out of this year? Does Draymond could be that nuclear bomb that holds the Warriors back. And that's huge. But you can't ever doubt Steph Curry or Klay Thompson. Andrew Wiggins showed out in the NBA Finals. Jordan Poole showed out all year. I really like this Warriors team. I expect them to be at the top of the Western Conference yet again. The Houston Rockets. This is a team that's very young. They're just like the Detroit Pistons. They have several young players that they're trying to build their nucleus around, and that's going to be Jalen Green, top pick Jabari Smith, and then Alperen Sengun, as well as Kevin Porter, who they just signed to a contract extension. This Rockets team won't make a lot of noise. I do not believe they'll be as surprising as the Detroit Pistons, but a lot of young talent out there in Houston, including Tari Eason, another one of their draft picks this year. He could be a lot of fun, could surprise some people in the league as well. Now, this is a lot of people's pick. You're the cool person if you pick the Clippers to win the title this year because they've got John Wall, they've got Kawhi Leonard back, they've got Paul George back. But this is a team led by Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. When healthy, how good can this team be? If healthy, can John Wall lead this team as the starting point guard and kind of move Reggie Jackson out of the way? Zubac is a very good center. Marcus Morris, Nicholas Batum, Robert Covington. These guys all kind of hold depth and talent on this Clippers roster. If everybody stays healthy, they're going to be a problem. They're very deep, especially at the forward position. I like this Clippers team a lot. The Los Angeles Lakers, kind of mentioned them already. You're going to hear it all year. It's Russell Westbrook. It's LeBron James. It's, Anthony Davis. It's all these, those three guys. And then first year coach, Darvin Ham coming in to run the show. They're going to be a team that's out for blood. They got Patrick Beverley, so they may seriously be out for blood. But they're going to be without, I got to bring up their roster here, excuse me. They're going to be without Dennis Schroeder to begin the season. But they got a few guys who may want to showcase themselves too, including Austin Reeves. Kendrick Nunn wants to show he's healthy. Thomas Bryant's going to be out for a little while, but he could be another guy. Lonnie Walker's another one. So this team, they're top heavy, obviously, but when you have LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook, if Darvin Ham can figure it out, and we'll know very quickly, because when they take on the Warriors tonight, we'll know if they can compete with the reigning champions. And if they can compete, I'm not saying if they can win, but if they can compete, this could be a fun team this year. Speaking of fun teams, how about the Minnesota Timberwolves led by Anthony Edwards, Rudy Gobert, and Carl Anthony Towns, also D'Angelo Russell running point guard there. Jaden McDaniels projected to be their starting small forward. They have depth with Kyle Anderson there as well, Taurean Prince, rookie Wendell Moore Jr. But this is a team. How will Carl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert coexist in the paint? And what does it do for Anthony Edwards? You're going to hear that name, Anthony Edwards, from me later on when I'm giving out award picks. But this is Anthony Edwards' team for the taking. He's just got to take it. The Phoenix Suns, some ugly offseason drama with their now soon-to-be former owner, Robert Sarver. But here's a team that returns Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, and DeAndre Ayton. Big move to get DeAndre Ayton back and not lose him to the Indiana Pacers. So it doesn't seem like they're clicking on all cylinders there. They could use this is going to be a team that runs their starters a lot. Cam Payne, Landry Shamet coming off the bench. I know they're looking at moving Jay Crowder. This is a team that, 2 years ago, challenged for the NBA championship. I don't know. I really don't know with the Phoenix Suns. They're going to be a good team, but this Western Conference is so good. It is so good. The Portland Trail Blazers, Damian Lillard back and healthy. Anthony Simons, big payday for him. The team also extended Nasir Little. Good depth off the bench there. They get Jeremy Grant this year. Yusuf Nurkic is back. They signed Gary Payton, drafted Shaedon Sharpe. I don't know if this is the year, but, they had to do something this past offseason to keep Dane and to kind of figure out. They're not like Orlando and the other teams I mentioned, like Washington. They know who their core is. It's Damian Lillard, it's Nurkic, and it should be Simons, who could have a breakout year. Jeremy Grant could be a great veteran for this team. They're going to be tough night in and night out, but I don't see the Portland Trail Blazers making much noise. Sacramento Kings, you'll hear about one of their players as well from me here shortly. They have De'Aaron Fox, Keegan Murray, Kevin Huerter coming over from Atlanta, Domantas Sabonis in that midseason trade, which still doesn't make sense to me. By the way, I didn't preview the Indiana Pacers. I'll go back to them in a second. Keegan Murray, their top pick. I like this team. At some point, the Kings have got to make some noise. And if De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, and I'm going to be honest, if Keegan Murray does what a lot of people expect him to do, the Kings could be a tough out. They could be a tough out. San Antonio Spurs, I believe I read the stat. Greg Popovich has either 5 or 6 players that still can't legally drink. We all heard about Victor Wembanyama. I'm sorry if I'm freaking butchering that. Trey Jones, Devin Vassell, Jeremy Sochan, rookie, Keldon Johnson, great young player, and then Jacob Poeltl. I expect him to get moved halfway through the season. You got Josh Primo coming off the bench. The San Antonio Spurs team is looking to get the top pick, and what a top pick they could get in Victor. That's all I got to say about them. They are not worth watching. They are not worth breaking down. They are a bad team, as are, and this stinks because they had the guy. They had him, but he got hurt. They had Chet Holmgren. I'm talking about the Oklahoma City Thunder, of course. They got SGA. They got Shai. They got Josh Giddey. And then not much else. A lot of guys, Jalen and Jalen Williams, 2 rookies they picked up in the draft this year. This is a team where, very much like Orlando, they're going to try and figure out who's going to be a part of their core moving forward and look for them to be a team in 2023, maybe 2024 if you're the Utah Jazz. Give up Rudy Gobert, give up Donovan Mitchell, get a hell of a lot of picks, Colin Sexton. One of the things I'm going to say here is I like, and I do expect them to trade Mike Conley by the end, by midseason. They got Ochai Agbayi out of Kansas in the trade for Donovan Mitchell, but they got Walker Kessler. Walker Kessler might be one of, if not a top 3 player on this team by the end of the year. I like Colin Sexton. I like Jaron Vanderbilt, but Walker Kessler was a beast in the blocks and on defense in the SEC in college, and I expect him to do that. And I also expect him to kick Kelly Olynyk to the bench very quickly this season. Utah Jazz, a rebuilding team. I'll just put it to you this way. The Spurs, Thunder, and Jazz, whoever's playing them, bet against those three teams. The Memphis Grizzlies. Big thing here for the Memphis Grizzlies is how long is Jaren Jackson out? This seems like a reoccurring theme. The Grizzlies kind of decimated by injuries year in and year out, but made a lot of noise, made a lot of enemies. And now they have everyone's favorite young player in Ja Morant. Desmond Bane, Dylan Brooks. I believe Brandon Clark could be the starting power forward, and then Steven Adams, just a bully of a man in there, Memphis. So doing what I did for the Eastern Conference, here are the 5 teams I do not expect to make the playoffs in the Western Conference. That'll be the Utah Jazz, Oklahoma City Thunder, the San Antonio Spurs. I do not expect the Houston Rockets to make the playoffs as well. And then I will say the Portland Trailblazers, which means if you're checking at home, did he mention my team? Did he mention my team? I expect the Sacramento Kings to sneak in as a play-in team. Why? Great question. Thank you for asking. I'm going to give my NBA predictions here. My MVP of this year, he was screwed over last year. I think with a full off season with James Harden, Doc Rivers, Tyrese Maxey, you know who I'm talking about, Joel Embiid. Now, here's the only 2 players I could see kind of beating out Joel Embiid. Jason Tatum and Luka Doncic for 2 totally different reasons. Not that Ime Udoka is the next greatest coach in NBA history. We don't know if he'll ever come back to a job. I'm sure there are other teams that would love to hire him, but this team in the Boston Celtics was just outclassed against the Golden State Warriors. I mean, you're growing up one of the greatest shooters of all time, and they just couldn't get it done. I like Jason. If Jason Tatum puts the Boston Celtics on his back, carries them back to the number 1 seed in the East, carries them, I could truly see Jason Tatum and Joel Embiid. That could be. It's our opening night game in the NBA between the Celtics and Sixers. It very well could also be the MVP race between Embiid and Jason Tatum. Now, the only other guy I could see is Luka Doncic, but I don't like Dallas. I don't like Dallas this year. I'll go as far as to say this. I said Sacramento's my play-in team in the West. The Mavericks are my play-in team in the West as well. 9 and 10. Dallas, Sacramento. But if Luka has some crazy year, and we've seen players have crazy years before, if he has a crazy, I'm talking triple-double average, I'm talking 35 points a game, I don't know. But if he has an out-of-this-world season, I see Luka Doncic coming in. I'd put him third. I would put him third. I would take Embiid 1, Tatum 2, Luka 3, Giannis 4, or tie for third. Rookie of the year. The easy pick here is Paolo Banchero. But why would I put the Sacramento Kings as a play-in team if I didn't like Keegan freaking Murray? I love this guy. He's the most pro-ready guy in this draft. And I love Jaden Ivey. I think he fits that Sacramento team very well. He could step out and shoot. He will bang the glass alongside Domantas Sabonis. Give me Keegan Murray as the rookie of the year. I have not forgot about the Indiana Pacers, by the way. I will stop right here to tell you guys, Tyrese Halliburton is a stud. The Pacers need to also figure out who's a part of their core. They got Chris Duarte, a first-round pick last year. Benedict Mathurin this year. Miles Turner is back. Jalen Smith is a monster on the boards. The Indiana Pacers will be another League Pass team, fun to watch, but they're a year or 2 away from me. Defensive Player of the Year, I kind of talked about him, talked about the lack of depth, which could mean this guy has ample opportunities to make plays. I'm talking about Bam Adebayo out in Miami. Marcus Smart, great player. So happy he won the Defensive Player of the Year last year. But I think it goes back to the big men this year. And I really do like Bam Adebayo. Mikal Bridges was right in the running. He's another name to watch. Rudy Gobert and Cat are 2 guys. You know, Rudy's a multiple-time winner of this. I don't like either of them. I just want to see how they work together, coexist in the paint this year. 6th man of the year, it's Jordan Poole. If you thought Draymond Green punching Jordan Poole was going to be the biggest story of Jordan Poole, and 2022 season, you're absolutely wrong. It's going to be how good can Jordan Poole become in 2022 and 2023. He just got the bag, as they say. He just got rewarded with an extension. And I think Jordan Poole, because Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, they do get injured. They are getting older. Jordan Poole could show the Golden State Warriors he could be next in line. I think Jordan Poole will light up the NBA this year. Most improved player. I said you were going to hear of him, and he's a reason why I like his team to make a big push this year. That's Zion Williamson. I was very torn between Zion and Anthony Edwards. I do like both those guys. If there could ever be a those would be my two picks. I think both guys are going to take their teams to the next level. And I just think that just like with Ben Simmons, I would really, truly love to see Zion come back. And it's not his team. It's Brandon Ingram's team. But led by CJ, led by Brandon, and led by Zion, the Pelicans will be a tough out for anybody with head coach Willie Green. Spoiler, he's my pick for coach of the year. I really like Zion Williamson, but 3 players I cannot wait to watch this year: Anthony Edwards, Zion Williamson, and Ben Simmons. Give me those 3 guys all day. You guys already know. Favorite team is the Knicks. You guys already know I love me some Cade Cunningham. So again, for this, expect me to do it every Tuesday and Thursday. It's the On the Mic Sports Talk. At the end of this video, hit that subscribe button. You can find some previous On the Mic episodes up here, but please subscribe and tell a friend to tell a friend. I appreciate it. Got a lot of good feedback after the first episode. So you kind of heard a full kind of exhausting breakdown of the NBA season. Listen, there's so many storylines we'll talk about week in, week out. We start tonight with the Celtics and Sixers and the Warriors and Lakers. I do believe the Celtics and Sixers will be the best 2 teams in the East. I believe the Lakers have no other choice but to shut the league up. I don't know if they beat the Warriors on opening night, but if they make it a close game, it could be interesting. And I will say this, LeBron, we got to be honest. LeBron is nearing the end of his career. And this isn't football. This isn't Tom Brady where you can play at 45 years old, the quarterback position. So they're going to have to make something happen. I know I read an article this offseason where there were calls for Anthony Davis to try to become the focus point of this franchise. He's going to have to. These guys are going to have to stay healthy, and they're going to have to coexist. You can't tell me. I mean, I guess you can because it's been true. It's been done. You can't tell me, though, a team with Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis can't coexist. I think Darvin Ham's got to get in there. He's got to figure it out. Again, I told you my 3 most exciting players, that I'm most excited for. You got my season award winners. It's going to be a great year in the NBA. It always is, guys. We've got baseball playoffs, Yankees, Guardians, Game 5. The NLCS is set, the Phillies and Padres. And stay tuned on Thursday. I'll go over week 6 in the NFL. We'll make better picks against the spread this week, hopefully. And I'll end with this. Just how bad are the Denver Broncos and what has happened to Russell Wilson? Leave your thoughts and comments below. Subscribe. Please subscribe. And tell a friend to tell a friend. I am Mike Pendleton at MP2310 on Twitter. And until next time, we'll see you guys on Thursday. Make sure to stay tuned. We got UFC 280 coverage and a Bellator interview also coming to the channel this week. Thank you, everybody.